Hello, welcome people of the internet. Welcome to Pete's Media Reviews and another review on another Carry On film. This time I'm obviously reviewing Carry On Cleo and going to be making some comparisons, I guess, to Carry On Screaming, which I did not too long ago. And now I've seen all the Carry On films in my lifetime over the years, and enjoyed them. Um, and so I've got very mixed memories about them. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going through them again, I guess, and putting them through the paces of Pete's Media Reviews for the score. So just to refresh, I mark my movies in 5 categories: storyline, acting, production, personal enjoyment, and replayability, all out of 10. So you get an overall score of something out of 50, with 50 being the most or the maximum you could get. Now, I looked on several forums online and lists and things, and Carry On Cleo was right up there at the top. It's in the top 5 every time I looked. I'm not saying there is a definitive, but and it also puts Carry On Up the Khyber up there as well. But well, let's just get into it and see. Let's unpack this thing. So, Carry On Cleo. It's loosely based on the story of Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, all that kind of thing, and a very, very rough glossing over of the history, I guess, bundled into a movie mayhem of laughs. Now, one thing that did strike me with Carry On Clear was, I might be wrong, but it did feel like there weren't as many people in it. I'm not talking about actors overall, the number of actors, because there were clearly quite a few. What I'm talking about is like main characters. There didn't seem to be as many. That's just the impression I got. But anyway, so we'll go with the storyline, and I'm gonna mark it 6 because it wasn't. To be honest, there wasn't really much of a story behind it. Now I understand it's loosely following historical events and the events of Rome, allegedly at the time, and that. But it's a comedy, and I am reviewing this with that in mind. It is a comedy. It's a piece of entertainment, which is what it is. But I didn't. It wasn't a storyline that grabbed me. If I compare it to Carry On Screaming, which I marked as a 7, that's because it was based on like the classic horror movies that I loved as a kid. So here is an example of my subjectivity. It is a subjective thing, and I appreciate that. But yeah, so storyline 6. Move on to acting then, and for this, I'm marking it as a 6. So ever so slightly better than Carry On Screaming. I mean, it's all hammy and dramatic and over the top in every Carry On movie. That's just the nature of the movies, right? But I did feel that there was a sliver of an upward trend in the acting stakes. I mean, Charles Hawtrey got a lot more screen time than on this movie than he did on, say, Carry On Screaming, which was a little more than a cameo, really, if I'm honest. And I view them as like very theatrical. It's almost like movie theatre. It's like it's like going to the theatre and filming it, right? And that's how it comes across. So, but I'm giving that acting a 6. Okay, let's move on to production then. Now, I'm giving this an 8. The sets were fantastic, I think, and especially for the time, and especially for a carry-on movie. The reason for that is it was leftover set pieces from the movie Cleopatra, or a lot of them were, and it shows it because you look at it, you think, well, that looks like a bigger budget than what they had for the other movies. Some of them were a little more than a camping field, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to say, and the costumes were fantastic. I absolutely loved the costumes. There was the slave trading thing and the boat scene, but the Praetorians and the all that kind of thing, and the soldiers, they were good. They were really good, and it did it did a grand job of production. So I'm giving that an 8. Personal enjoyment, then, number 4, I'm going to give that a 6. I enjoyed it about the same as I did Carry On Screaming. Yeah, no more, no less. I didn't find it better. I didn't find it worse. So that's all I can say, really. Personal enjoyment, it's a 6 out of 10, so a little bit more than halfway. And I don't know if these films are going to get better or get worse, or I don't know. That remains to be seen. But anyway, yeah. So personal enjoyment is a 6. Now, replayability, that's a 6 as well, and that's purely because it's the same. I'd watch. Would I watch it again? Yeah, probably. Any more so than Carry On Screaming? Nah. About the same. If you used to say to me in, I don't know, 6 months' time, do you want to watch a Carry On movie? Are the ones you got 2. I'd say, yeah, go on then. So would you rather watch Carry On Screaming or Carry On Cleo? I'd be like, yeah, not bothered either way. It's, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, basically. And, so replayability is a 6. Now that brings the overall score to 32 out of 50. So it is 1 point more than Carry On Screaming. And that's really the production that's done that. Those sets and costumes were phenomenal, especially for the time. And I think, kudos to them for doing that. It was really, really good. I think they were still finding their way with the whole Carry On thing. I think it was 1964 that this movie came out. I think it was made in December of 1964. If memory on the research serves correctly. But yeah, I think they did a good job. And would I call it classic Carry On? Probably not. Like I said, I still think it was finding its way. Carry On Screaming certainly wasn't. The classic Carry On formula, I don't think. Carry On Cleo, the same. I don't think it really got into the classic formula until like the Carry On Doctor and Nurse and all that when they were in the hospital thing, and it really started kicking off then. And I think that's the classic era that I remember. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully on another video. So don't forget, give it a thumbs up. If you've got the hype option, that would be phenomenal if you could do that. I know some of you got a hype option. You can hype about 3 videos a day. I use it. You can't hype your own videos, so rely on people such as yourself, your good selves, to do that for me. Get into the algorithm, get it out there. Hopefully, get me more notice, get me some more views, get me some more subscribers, and I will do more of these reviews. Not just movies. I'll do books. I'll do concerts. I'll do the whole shebang. Right. See you on another one. Bye bye.